Hey Jews, I've been thinking that there's definitely a way we can evaluate ourselves to see how good are we Jewing. How good of a Jew are we? Okay, and we should actually be able to assess ourselves because a Jew is here in this reality, your lifetime, to actually do specific things. There's a purpose to our lives. There's a purpose to reality. And we have all the information in the Torah. So therefore, we should be able to evaluate ourselves. How am I doing as a Jew? So this is something I've been thinking about. And this is, I think, a natural progression from considering all of the different types of consciousness, or we go from mineral to plant to animal, speaker, and to Israel, to look at reality, which is 3 physical dimensions, 1 spiritual dimension, and 1 dimension is time, and to consider all of these things. What do I know about the physical reality? What do I know about the spiritual reality? What do I know about time? And going through all of these in different videos has brought me to this place where now I'm considering, and I've also been talking a lot about learning the information and then practicing the spiritual practice, because it's 2 things. What a Jew has to do is combine these things, combine the learning with the practicing in order to obtain a perfection. That's actually the purpose, is to perfect ourselves by combining, okay, having the information to learn and then doing it so that we understand it. We understand the information enough so that it changes our behavior, changes everything. Because as we understand more what our purpose is, then we need to do things in certain ways, or do specific things, stop doing other things, in order to basically perfect ourselves. So this has to do with consciousness. This has to do with spiritual perfection. Okay, and this is Judaism. So this is the point. So then we ask ourselves, how well am I learning the information, if at all? And that all that information is in the Torah. And all of the rabbis and the more perfected, spiritually enlightened people before us in our timeline have left us a lot of information. And I read a lot of Ramchal. I try to learn a lot from the Ramchal. I really connect to it. This is I also talk a lot about Mesilat Yesharim, which is the pathway of the righteous. Okay, and this one's called Derech Hashem, the way of God, Hashem. And this is by this one has some commentary from Rabbi Chaim Saglovich. Okay, so I took basically this chart was in the book, and I translated it into English. So let's take a look. So what's the work of a Jew? Well, it's twofold, like we said. It's learning and doing. So practicing, learning the information. Now, the information is just raw information. It's not emotional. We can't relate to this information in an emotional way. We have to learn from our brains. Okay, so other things we've been talking about, the difference between a melech and a kelev. A melech is a king, because everything goes through the mind, okay? We are basically filtering everything through our mind in order to become a perfected person. And we've talked about in different classes about the pure-minded people of Jerusalem who filter everything, even every thought, through this filter of if it's forbidden, allowed, and if allowed, how? How is it allowed? And when, usually, when, okay? And commanded. I have other videos on that, even shorts, forbidden, allowed, and commanded. So even at the level of thought, we should filter our thoughts. Is this forbidden or allowed? Or is it commanded to say or do? And we have also seen in quite a few different videos the role of a speaker, because the speaking is what we might consider makes us different from animals. But in fact, the ability to speak, okay, is a higher consciousness. It's a different creation than an animal. We went through all of this in different videos, so I'm not going to go here, but it's on the way to something. So we were created humans, basically, with the ability to speak, okay? And then our job is to elevate our consciousness using, a lot of times, the speech, okay, in order to elevate ourselves to Israel. So when we look at this and we say, are we doing a good job as Jews? There's two things. So learning, like we said, and the information is just information. So we have to react to it through our heads and not through our hearts, like a dog, kelev. So like kings and not like dogs, okay? So not emotional, okay? It's just the information. So we have to learn in order to know what is commanded. Is it forbidden, allowed, or commanded? The only way we can know that is to learn it, okay? So we all, Jews, all have to learn the Torah in order to know, okay? And the other reason that we learn is in order to fix the creation. Like we said, there's a job for the speaker to do. The speaker was created with the ability, okay, to have a consciousness, to understand reality. How do we understand? By learning the wisdom of God, the Creator, okay? And then by saying again, the words, okay? So if that's in the prayers or if it's just the words of the Torah, if we say them out loud, okay, it fixes creation. We've heard sometimes of the concept of tikkun olam. Tikkun olam. Now, Jew, if you are a Jew in this reality and you are not saying any of the words that are in the Torah, then you are not doing a good job as a Jew. Really, because that's what we should be doing. You should be saying the words out of your mouth, okay, to elevate yourself to Yisrael. It's not just a genetic thing. I have other videos on that, including the identity crisis of the Jews and pretty much all my videos. So to fix the creation, okay, so we're learning the Torah, okay, which tells us about reality and gives us our purpose as Jews. And in order to fix creation, how do we do that? By saying the words and also by understanding. Okay, and I've gone into a lot of this concept of understanding. There are currently a lot of people learning Torah, but I'm questioning when I see the behavior of a lot of people who look like Orthodox Jews or look like whatever, okay, how much are we understanding? Because by understanding, we change our behavior. We do certain things. The way we show that we understand the information is by implementing this information into our lives, by behaving different ways and by perfecting ourselves, okay? So when we see a whole country full of arrogant, ignorant, gavanim, I don't even know how to say it in English, okay? That's not the way that the Jews are supposed to behave, okay? So there's actually a whole, what does it mean to perfect your character? It's all written for us, okay? We should know what that means and we should try to achieve it. So that's the learning. Now, there's also the doing. And like I said, in order to do things properly, you need the information and you need to understand the information. And again, understanding, if we're looking at wisdom, which is chokhmah, which comes from God. It's a higher intelligence than the creation, okay? The creator made a creation, okay? And we're trying to understand the wisdom of that creation by learning the information, okay? But the amount that we can understand is directly related to how much learning we do and how much practicing we do and how much we perfect ourselves, okay? And I've talked a lot about these in different videos, but especially this understanding. It is Bina, in Bina, okay? So it's Chokhmah, Bina, and Da'at. Okay, but also in Bina is repentance. Okay, so the more you understand, the better and better and better of a Jew, the better you're Jewing. Okay, you're doing a better job as a Jew. So you need to understand and you need to do. Now, the practice is broken down into a lot of different things according to times. So there's things that we're always supposed to be doing. Like we're always supposed to have a fear of God. We're also always supposed to have a love of God, faith in God, the unification of God's name, and the belief in God. Okay, these are things that we are always thinking about and always doing and practicing. Okay, some of these things are just in our mind, like we were talking about being a pure-minded person of Jerusalem. So we're always doing these things. Now, there's things that we're doing daily, on a daily basis. That's the Shema. That's putting on tefillin for men. And then when we had the temple, there were sacrifices and whatnot that we're doing. But in our days, when we don't have the temple, these are the prayers. Okay? And at these times, we are also saying certain things. Okay? So that's also doing this job. So always, daily, occasionally, on different occasions, like Shabbat. We have to understand the spiritual importance, okay, of Shabbat. And also we need to learn what to do during this time. So that's another thing we're doing. So there's different things that we do on occasions, like Shabbat, like on a Yom Tov, like on a new month, like on different festivals, okay, all of the holidays. These are all different times in our reality that we have to know what we're doing and practicing. And then there are random times, okay, that just depend on us, like blessings. Like when you eat certain things, there's certain blessings that you need to learn and know in order to say them out loud. And that is also practicing randomly, okay, and also different mitzvot. Like if you have a baby, then you're going to be doing the mitzvah of the Brit Milah, the circumcision, okay? You're going to do the mitzvah of the bar mitzvah, of getting married, of whatever Bezrat Hashem you're doing there, okay? So you can see that there are very, very many things that Jews need to learn and Jews need to do. And then that's the way that you can look at your life and say, how am I doing as a Jew? There's definitely a reason that the nation of Israel exists, okay? It's not just to become like every other nation, okay? And completely not do this learning, completely not learn anything, and completely not do anything, okay? If you are a Jew, okay, that's not doing any of these things, okay, we have to ask ourselves, I mean, what's the purpose of Judaism? What's the purpose of this nation called the nation of Israel? And what is the purpose of our life? And then try to obtain the information, the knowledge of that wisdom. Try to understand it and let it change you, because that change is going to be a perfection. And Be'ezrat Hashem, lead to the ultimate perfection of Tikkun Olam.